So, how does it look? Is my hair okay? Because where I come from, we don't grow up obsessed with royalty. At least, that's what I used to say. But that wasn't true. Not really. I didn't know much about them, but I knew enough to understand one thing. Power always hides its cracks. Which is why people can't understand why one of the most outspoken women of our times suddenly went silent. Lena Hart, the woman who built her entire brand on calling out injustice, sexism, corruption, stopped speaking at the exact moment the world expected her voice the most. She exposed abusive directors. She confronted media giants. She even challenged the dynasty she married into. But when the biggest scandal in that dynasty's history erupted, Lena said nothing. Not a post, not a whisper, not a blink. Some said she stayed quiet out of respect. Others claimed she was protecting the family, but none of that matched the woman. The world had come to know she never hesitated before, so why now? Critics whispered that Lena was connected to the darker side of elite circles long before she married into power. They claimed she knew people she shouldn't have known, that she had been in rooms she never mentioned, and that someone, somewhere, needed her to stay silent. Supporters dismissed it all, but the silence remained, and silence from a woman whose voice shakes nations is never accidental. It is strategic. Behind closed doors. The dynasty had only one rule during the scandal. No one speaks. Not directly, not indirectly, not even accidentally. Lena was considered the biggest risk. She spoke with emotion. She commanded attention. She didn't follow scripts, so instructions were simple. Avoid the topic, decline the questions, erase the conversation before it begins, and as long as she stayed inside that institution, she obeyed. But when she and her husband left, when they finally broke free, everyone expected her silence to break too. Yet it didn't. Single quotes T. Not in interviews. Not in podcasts. Not in documentaries. Nothing. Hollywood didn't muzzle her. She muzzled herself. Her new world had its own rules, brand deals, production contracts, global image. One wrong conversation could chain her forever to a scandal she never asked for. So every interview was carefully designed to focus only on her transformation and bury anything that could drag her back to the past. But even then, the silence almost cracked. A major American network approached her for a primetime special. Not about the scandal, at least not on the surface, but about power, pressure, and the royal machinery she had escaped. It seemed safe. Her team drafted talking points, producers prepared segments, everything moved forward, until one producer asked a single question: if the documentary mentions the dynasty's major scandals, is Lena willing to comment? That one sentence froze the entire room. If she refused, she'd look like she was hiding something. If she spoke, she'd be dragged into a firestorm she could never escape. There was no safe choice. Within 48 hours, her team shut the entire project down. No contract, no recording, nothing. But the ripple reached the dynasty anyway. And when it did, panic erupted, because even the possibility of Lena speaking, not the act, just the possibility, terrified them. She didn't need to accuse anyone, she didn't need to name names. A single sentence, like "I wish more people spoke up," and the entire institution would collapse under the weight of her words. Her husband saw the tension. The dynasty saw the danger. Hollywood saw the risk, and Lena finally understood that silence wasn't protecting them. It was protecting everyone, including her. Not because she was guilty, but because her voice, spoken at the wrong moment, could burn multiple worlds to ash. So she stayed quiet, still, measured, controlled, not out of fear, but out of precision. One day, maybe she will speak, maybe she won't. But if she ever does, the world won't just listen, it will stop.